All right, good morning, everybody. We did have CPI this morning. It was actually a lot weaker than expected. Typically, CPI has a pretty big move. Let's see, it was 0.2 for core CPI. They were looking for 0.3, so lower than expectations. That's good. CPI month over month, 0.3, exactly as expected. CPI year over year, 2.7, exactly as expected. That's probably why you're seeing a pretty lackluster move here. My mic's kind of low. It might have did that thing. Let me double check. Sometimes it randomly lowers my volume. No, it looks good today. Test, test, test. Yeah, it looks good on my end. I'd check your volume. But yeah, so I think it was lackluster because you did not move too far away from the expectations. The expectations were pretty much spot on. So normally with CPI, when it moves very aggressively in one direction, you get a pretty obvious retest. You typically get a retest of that kind of single print area, typically about a third of the way or maybe half the way for the CPI candle. This wasn't really a massive candle, so we don't really need to look for that retest too much. But if it does want to retest it, I'd say somewhere around like 13, maybe 10, somewhere around that area. 13 to 15. For now, you're kind of a micro pullback inside of yesterday's P shape. If it holds above that value, then it is looking to break out to the upside. And then same thing for the downside. If we stay below that value low, then obviously it wants to break out to the downside. Let's take a look at our levels here. Okay, so trade plan yesterday holding above 24, looking for 55 and 90. Those are just guesses. They're extension levels, right? We don't really know the exact value. Holding below 92, we're looking for 53 and 40. Those are value levels, so those are exact levels. And then obviously in between, you're just looking to rotate because of that micro pullback. All right, is it the same story on NASDAQ? Let's see here. So we also have the inside day, basically a micro pullback. We need to hold above 11 to look for 70 and 155. Hold below 847 to look for 700 and 618. Those are prior value levels as well. And then anything in between, you are just rotating that value area of yesterday, continuing that POC node buildup. You're building up that POC. Just kind of rotating back and forth until we break value to the upside or the downside. We have a slight bullish bias because the profile that we are inside of is a P shape. So it is neutral, but it has a little bit of a nudge to the buy side. Looks like the CPI candle kind of already retested itself, so we might not see a major retest of that candle. If we do, it would be going down to like 05, maybe 07, because you've already retested the midpoint. Keep an eye on VWAP, retesting VWAP basically to the tick on both indexes right out of the open. Dollar not really reacting to the CPI data. Gold is up a little bit, Bitcoin's up a little bit, oil's up a little bit. Still holding VWAP for now. Keep an eye on that. You're basically holding VWAP damn near to the tick on ES and NASDAQ. It's at least good that they're damn near following each other bar by bar. Good morning, everybody. Wanatachi, Ordinary, Patriot, Scott, Fernando. Good morning, Leo, Jose, Lubomir, Morris, Estevan, Albazi, AT. Good morning, Siri. Let me pen the trade plan for you guys. There you go. Good morning, Future, Larry, Mr. B, Igor, Marcel. Karini, Nitro, TS, XP, Ike, Maverick, Peter, JC. Delta's still pretty damn bullish on ES. You were bullish pretty much the entire day yesterday, and it looks like it is maintaining that buy pressure. Where was I? Lost my place. Ronaldo, Blood, Angelo, Darius, Maverick. Good morning, Tamer, Orion. Generock, Vanquish, Constantine, Greg, Builds, Boz. Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, Ken, Asylum, Boat. Good morning, Mark, Liquidated eBay. Appreciate you guys all being here. Good morning. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your holidays, your Christmas, your New Year's. When's our next holiday? I think it's Martin Luther King Day, I believe, is our next one. Monday the 19th is our next one. What clock is it? It's a Microsoft Store app called Widget Launcher. Widget Launcher. And then it's just customized a little bit. It's not 100% accurate. I'd say it's like 95% accurate. Sometimes it gets a little bit of a delay, but it's good enough. It helps me keep an eye on like the 30-minute closes. I think we have a little bit of data at 10 o'clock as well. Yeah, new home sales. We have 2 data points for new home sales because of the shutdown. Afternoon is also pretty busy. Trump is speaking at 2. 30-year bond auction at 1. So you can see the CPI candle. We talk about how normally the 30% or 50% of the pullback, or sorry, of the candle is pulled back. So you have like a 30% pullback from the high, which would have been around like here. And then 50% pullback would have been somewhere around like here. Unfortunately, we already had that pullback on the pre-market, so we can't really target that for the morning here. The only pullback we could target for the morning is like a full retrace of the CPI candle, which would go all the way down to 05. But normally the easier target is that 30 to 50%. So I guess if you wanted to average it out, you would just say 40%. Somewhere in that area. Normally you want to target 50, but sometimes it has that front run where it just doesn't make it to 50. So that's why I say like 30 to 40. But 50 is usually like the optimal target. If it goes up 100 points, look for a 50-point pullback, right? This one went up, let's see, from low to high. It went up a little over 30 points. And then it pulled back. Yeah, almost exactly. It pulled back about 20 points. Good morning, eBay. Not sure if I saw you earlier. Good morning, Ryder, Sam. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Patriot. A lot of buyers coming in here, mostly on NQ. Absolutely ripping off of VWAP here. You can see almost a perfectly balanced candle on ES. So the buyers are getting stuck on the high, the sellers are getting stuck on the low, and they're both meeting in the middle. Not quite the same on NASDAQ. NASDAQ is obviously not balanced. The buyers are winning that battle. We're stuck like right in the middle of that CPI candle. Yeah, it's almost the exact middle. The middle's 20.5. Nasty sells coming in here, possibly a headline. Liquidity is being pulled. Only headline I see is for Facebook. Talking about the Meta AI glasses. I don't think that's what's causing it. Let's see what the next headline is. I see the press secretary posted something about tariffs. That might be it. That might be an old headline as well. Oh, here we go. Trump said something on Truth Social. What did he say? He said, I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. What else did he say? Let me see here. Okay, yeah, so it just seems like a Trump post about Iran. The market's probably just reacting because the liquidity was pulled. So liquidity was pulled and sellers pushed it down. Most likely an overreaction. Really big trades at 15. 2,700 delta there. There was probably a small wall there. Yeah, it looks like there was a small wall there. There was a sell wall at 15. Liquidity still not fully coming back. You're still seeing a lot of level 2 orders coming in. Only seeing about 20 contracts per tick. Good morning, Lucio. No, I doubt that means invasion. It probably just means using our Air Force, like always. America's not really a boots on the ground type of country anymore. Our technology is too advanced. Liquidity still not here. Sellers coming in at 10. 7,010. Here's that possible another buy wall there. Buy wall at 08 getting taken out. Here's that possible retest of the CPI low at 04. Yeah, around the holidays, it's a bit different style of trading for sure. It's not like a normal market. We're also back to all-time highs, so you just get a lot more chop around all-time high as well. All-time high, notorious for that vertical distribution style like we saw yesterday. Yesterday we had that pretty much the entire day. Looks like whatever those limit buyers were around 10 to 07, they are protecting that level. You had a ton of selling coming in here, meaning there was a bunch of limit buying. And those limit buyers are trying to push us up here. Yeah, we have some data coming out at 10 o'clock. We have a couple months worth of home sales. NASDAQ not being as sensitive to this little spike in volatility. It's staying up. Here are those limit buyers being retested. Would I recommend ES or NQ? It's really up to you. The NASDAQ is just a bit more volatile. So it's whether or not you want something that's kind of slow or something that is more like instant gratification. You kind of get your win or you get your loss like right away on NASDAQ. ES, you kind of have to wait for it to play out a little bit more. They're just different styles. Those limit buyers still doing their job here, protecting that low. We know there's limit buyers down there because you had a massive surge in Delta on the sell side, but it wasn't able to do anything. They're kind of absorbing them. That is the low of the CPI retest. Not the exact low, but damn close. Trend is pretty stable. I know it looks pretty sloppy, but they are protecting the 5-minute highs every single candle. ADMA also being protected. You're kind of sitting on a cliff on the 30-minute. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buy signals on this trail here. And we have been protecting that trail since the pre-market. That's around that 07 to 05 area. Losing that doesn't look too good. There's a 5-minute pivot, a 1-minute pivot. Pretty much all your support lining up in the low 7,000. Pretty much the only big boy doing really good recently is Google, with all those headlines they had yesterday. Netflix has been straight down since they had their stock split. Coming up on earnings. Amazon's not doing too bad. Pretty nasty day in finance. Finance very red today. Energy's not doing too bad. Everything else is pretty red. AMD's up 6.6. Intel's up 5.8. Chip company's doing really well. Any headlines on that? I didn't see anything for AMD. Well, easier is relative. That's the problem with trading. Some people think that the higher volatility is easier for them, like their style, their mindset just works better with higher volatility when things are moving a little bit faster. But I personally like the slower trading. There's no right or wrong. There's no one is easier than the other. If I had to absolutely pick one, I would obviously say ES, but that's just my bias, right? I am biased towards ES because that's what I trade. But I have a lot of people, probably, honestly, there's probably more NASDAQ traders that watch my streams and that are in my community than ES traders. NASDAQ is typically more popular for this style of trading, like the kind of the day trading, the in and out trades for futures. But they still watch my stream because everything that I say for ES is true for NASDAQ as well, for the most part. Unless we have those random days where it's like completely different. AMD had an upgrade, gotcha. It's so crazy to me that the market still responds to stuff like that. That seems like such an old school, like boomer style of market analysis. The upgrades and downgrades. Here comes that housing data. But yeah, for going back to your question, I would just try both. Just try ES and NASDAQ, give them both a good try. You obviously don't have to try them both at the same time. You could have maybe 2 accounts, have an Apex account for ES, have an Apex account for NASDAQ, see which one does better. If you want to trade them at the same time, right? But yeah, this is a different vibe, different style. I prefer the slow and methodical nature of ES. New home sales. This is the newer data. We're also getting September data. The newer data is 737 over 716, so pretty big beat on that data. Those are the point of origins I talk about in, I think it's the first video, maybe the second video of the Apex Trader series. I think it's the first one, but I don't remember. First or second. The CME margin on metals will switch from dollar base to percentage base? No, I didn't see that. How does percentage based work? I don't think I've seen that on any futures before. Looks like Twitter is down, not loading anything for me. Yeah, looks like my Twitter is cooked. My Twitter is not loading. So no news. Getting a little bit bottom heavy here. A lot of seller delta coming in. 5-minute highs still being protected. ADMA still being protected. Trend is still stable to the sell side here. And there's that bottom heavy candle getting what they want, pushing that lower tail down. This could be a reaction to the home sale data. Hard to say. My Twitter is still completely down. Oh, I see. It's percentage based of the contract, not of like your account. I was thinking like percentage of your account. I was like, how is that going to work? It's percentage based of the notional value of the contract. Gotcha. Changing exchanges is not going to help you because if one exchange is doing the margin thing, they typically all follow each other. That's not usually like an exchange by exchange thing. They pretty much all follow each other every time. Not sure what's going on with my Twitter. I think it's still down. Yep. So looking at the big picture, like I said on our trade plan, from here to here, you're just rotating. It's just a rotation of this POC area, of the value area of yesterday. So you just finished the rotation of today, the value low. If it wants to respect yesterday, it's 847. ES finished nearly both. So retrace of today is complete, and damn near the retrace of yesterday. That's probably within margin of error. Missed it by 2 points. Still seeing a lot of buyers down here. You have a lot of responsive buyers today. Where you push down pretty aggressively, they buy it right back up. But you don't have a lot of aggressive buyers today that are pushing the highs. I mean, as you can see, we haven't taken out a 5-minute high. September housing data was 738. So also pretty good. Is Twitter down for you guys as well? Not loading my news feed. It is okay. Making sure it wasn't just me. I'm sure there's a down detector for it. They usually have a down detector for most of those major sites. I usually don't bother because it just fixes itself in like 2 minutes normally. We'll see how long this one takes. I use Twitter for my news feed. That's why it's kind of a problem. Still holding the backtest of VWAP on NQ. Still holding the backtest of the ADMA on ES as well. 5-minute highs still being protected. You basically haven't lost a 5-minute high so far today. Yours are working? Let me see. Let me try mine again. Yeah, it must be an area thing. Mine's still down. Still seeing a lack of liquidity here. People are a little afraid to trade on CPI day. I used to have a channel for news that would like automatically post the news feed, but it breaks so often it's just not worth it. It's not an easy connection, unfortunately. It was either very delayed or just constantly breaking. You can follow my news feed on Twitter. I'm not using NinjaTrader. This is on Addis. The indicator on Addis is just called Market Profile and TPO. Yeah, you kind of have a bear flag in the VWAP on NASDAQ, but it's already played out. So you would have had to sell it around like 950. It was a very small one. You only got about 30 to 40 points. We're basically seeing the opposite trend of yesterday. Yesterday, the 5-minute lows and the 30-minute lows were protected pretty much the entire day. And now the 5-minute highs and the 30-minute highs are being protected. I can't do the VPN thing. It will mess my stream up. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just wait a few more minutes. It should be up. Too many people using Grok and messing up their servers. No, I don't use gamma levels every day. Only during like major expirations or something like that. Not every day. I think volume profile levels are more than enough. And funny enough, they do typically line up. Your layout's good. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I typically change my layout all the time. I kind of get bored of layouts and kind of rebuild them. This is probably the longest I've had a layout in a long time. I've kind of perfected this layout. There's not really much I can add to it or change about it. It's pretty much right where I need it. The only one I use for news is the DBT Athena one, the bot that I was building on ChatGPT. Nearly every morning, I'll do like a news summary on there. I just haven't bothered to change the logo. I think everybody knows what the Twitter logo is. The X change was fairly new. Last time I was messing with that border thing, so I didn't bother changing it. I think the Twitter logo is more recognizable than the X logo. No, this is Atas, ATAS. There's a free trial down below if you guys want to check them out. If you guys do like the platform, just send me an email. Let me know that you signed up using that link, and I can send it to their team. And they'll give you a 30-day trial. That's basically a full access trial. You get access to everything for the most part. EOC shifting down to the low here. There's my email if you guys need it. Yeah, today would be considered a micro pullback for sure. That was a very quick shift of that POC. Well, it looks like Twitter is slowly coming back. A lot of Fed statements coming out. You're still seeing the limit buying. They're very quickly building nodes up because there's so many buyers trying to protect this, but they just don't have enough. They're still being pushed down here. 5-minute highs still being protected. We have not lost one so far today. Now that retrace is complete, so retrace back down to 92. If it holds below 92, that becomes a pretty serious problem because this is a very weak lower tail. There's not a lot of value here. A little bit of a node around the open. That's about it. That would be around 70. Very close to finishing that rotation on NQ. Same thing. Only node is around the open. Around 740 if it does continue. This is that CPI retest that we typically see, but this is much more than a retest at this point. You had that pullback to retest the CPI, but it wasn't able to hold above that candle. You can look at it like that, Chuck, because it's a value low of the P-shaped profile, but that's if you're only focusing on the prior day. That would be ignoring a lot of information from today's profile, because today's profile you're holding below the value low. So that basically indicates that the sellers are in control. So it's a battle between which day has the power, right? If yesterday is controlling it, then they need to protect that 92. But if today is in control, this sell pressure is going to be too strong and they're going to hold below. I'm looking at NASDAQ, so it's not 92, but same level. Same level on NASDAQ is 847. So you're basically trying to pay attention to see who controls this level. If the sellers control it, then obviously today is more important than yesterday. And same thing for ES. If the sellers control 92, then obviously today is in control. That's the hard part about inside days. You never know which day is in control. The current day or the day that you're inside of. And you really have to pay attention to how it reacts to the value levels to determine who's in control. This trend is very strong. So for yesterday to be in control, you need to see a very obvious break of this trend. You're also about to create a ton of single prints, which could lead to a bounce off that value low. The single prints go up to 7,003. So that would coincide with a bounce off the value low, going back to VWAP, repairing the single prints, etc. So that's the buyer's idea. That's the best idea they have. I'm not sure, SD. You'd have to shop around and see who has the best data. I just use the Apex data, the rhythmic connection, which is funny enough cheaper than buying actual data. Like if you get a 50K account or a 25K account on 90% off or 80% off, it's typically cheaper to have the account and use that data than pay for actual data, like from Rhythmic or somebody else. You just have to check the prices on them. It is nearly identical to the trend that we had yesterday, obviously just inverse. 5-minute highs being protected beautifully, ADMA being protected. Delta doing a good job. Yeah, I can't really help you with your volume profiles. There's just so many different variables that could be wrong. There's no way for me to tell you what it is. Could be your time frame, could be your contract, could be your time zone, could be your indicator settings, could be what platform you're using and how they're calculating it. There's just too many variables. You just have to fiddle around with it and figure it out. You're quite literally looking at it right now. This is my Apex connection. So I get everything you're seeing. I don't have level 2 data because you have to pay an extra fee for it, and I don't use level 2, so I'm not paying that fee. But everything else, you get access to. Single prints in about 2 minutes. You just have to check their site, Ravi, because they're 80% off right now. So whatever size they are, take off 80%. Does the data expire? They have a Rhythmic. It's not from Apex, it's from Rhythmic. They started doing something last year, or if you don't trade for like 180 days or something like that, they turn off your connection. I don't know if that's true on Tradeovate, but I know Rhythmic put that out. So you have to trade at least once every 6 months, basically. Here come those single prints. Keep an eye on that 30-minute close going back to 7:03. There are the single prints, and it's a weird single print zone because typically single prints are very low volume, right? It's typically an LVN that's very easy to retrace. We have the POC inside these single prints. So a little bit strange there. Keep an eye on those 5-minute highs. If they start getting taken out, you're probably going to look for VWAP, which would line up with everything else. Value low being bought up, single prints being filled in. If you're talking about the cash value area, it's going to be very different. Well, not very different. Sometimes it'll be very different than the full session value area. They're not going to be the same. They're completely different profiles. Most of the time, they typically line up because the cash profile has so much volume. But they're not always going to be the same. They're just different levels. You have to check SD. I don't remember for this discount. Some discounts go back to like 50% off, and then some discounts stay at the higher percentage. I don't remember on this one. Looks like a bull trap on the Momo. It can be. It's not really showing itself just yet. You're hitting the 1-minute trail. You have to see how it reacts to that trail. Yeah, I appreciate that. If you use the code, just hold on to that receipt. We do raffles every month for people that use the Apex code. They're like VWAPs. They both can have reactions, so you just want to watch both. But like VWAP, the session VWAP is obviously a longer VWAP. It has more information. Typically, more information is stronger. So the session profile is the same way. The session profile has more information. Filling in those single prints, you only have a couple remaining. That's your first 5-minute high break with a strong candle pretty much the entire day. Not liking that POC retest so far. Hey, Shay, that's awesome, man. They're doing their favorite thing here. They left one single print left open here. They filled in all the other ones. Just barely missing VWAP as well. So you are getting a little bit of a sweep and a bounce off that value low. Not too much. Gave you about 8 points, depending on where you entered, maybe 10. It looks like they are respecting yesterday's profile, not allowing too much sell pressure below that value low, but you could argue that this entire bounce was just to fill in the single prints, if they cannot hold above that single print around 02 to 03. I'm not sure where these headlines are coming from, but Trump is making statements right now, so be careful. I know he's supposed to be speaking at 2 o'clock. But there's also some headlines right now about Powell coming out. I just built my own news feed on Twitter. You guys can follow me on Twitter. Go to my list. There's a list called News. Chopping around the POC here. Looks like it's still kind of being pulled into that single print. We'll see if they can stay above the 24 EMA here. It's already failing below it on NQ. They're talking about a vote on the Credit Card Competition Act, possibly sometime soon, which is probably one of the reasons why the finance sector is doing so poorly. That act is trying to cap the credit card interest at 10%. I don't think it's like forever. I think it's like for a year, and then they go from there or something like that. But credit card interest rates are like 20, 30% in some cases. So dropping that down to 10% does hurt those companies a little bit, which they've got plenty of room to get hurt. If you guys watched that Senate hearing that they were in, I think it was last year or the year before, they have plenty of margins. Plenty of space in their margin. Still failing that POC, which could be considered a failure to rotate. They do want to rotate back to a little bit above VWAP, around 12. Looks like that break of the 5-minute high turning into a trap. Next candle not confirming it, turning into a sweep. So we do not have any continuation on these 5-minute high breaks. Large tape is pretty mixed today. You're seeing a lot of both sides. This trend is definitely slowing down a bit here, starting to rotate around that POC node quite a bit. This is where you would expect it to slow down. You're hitting that value low of the inside day, the day that we're, or I guess the outside day, whatever you want to call it, the day that we're inside of. That single print could still act like a magnet here. It seems like you are slowly being pulled towards it, but it could just be a rotation. It's hard to tell. You would have to hold above 98, which you're really struggling to find buyers. Pretty nasty reaction to that upper portion of the POC node, not allowing it to get back into that single print. Still just rotating this POC node. You need to clearly stay below 93 or stay above 98. It's about a 5-point rotation. You can see how balanced this candle is. This candle is a perfect picture of that POC. Putting in a higher low, by the way. Okay, finally filling in that single print here. Keep an eye on VWAP coming up at 706. 7,006 to be exact. VWAP at 921 on NQ. This could be a bear flag and a VWAP if they hold below that 06 level, or possibly the daily VWAP at 02. Thankfully on NASDAQ, they're basically the same level. So you need to hold below 921. So far, you're not seeing a reaction off of VWAP. You're not getting like a big push down, but you're definitely stalling below it. Keep an eye on those 5-minute lows and the 24 EMA. If you can hold below that, then you would be showing that bear flag in the VWAP. possibly breaking back down. Still protecting the 5-minute lows and the 24 EMA here, so ignoring VWAP for now. Keep an eye on that session VWAP at 06. Bit more of a reaction that time around on VWAP, a little bit more sell pressure. We're seeing something very similar to yesterday where the volume is just collapsing very quickly. It's not as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was absolutely falling off a cliff in volume. But we're definitely seeing that collapse. This candle here is the main problem. These candles were keeping up with the norm at about 147, 140, 103. That's kind of a big drop. This is a massive drop. You're losing 50% volume on this candle. Now, you still have a few minutes left. So this might close around like 60, maybe 70,000 if they're lucky. But yeah, definitely seeing a big fall off in volume. Yesterday, we dropped all the way down to, what was it, like 20,000? We started the day at like 150, I think, and dropped all the way down to 20. Starting to see that reaction off of VWAP. Now, 30-minute high being swept. Sell pressure on the bottom of this candle. 5-minute lows very slowly being taken out. This is why I always say the session VWAP is typically stronger, right? You see the reaction on the daily VWAP every now and then. But some days you have it like this, where you test that daily VWAP, but it's not strong enough to lose that 24, and then you pop up into the session VWAP, which is typically the farther away one, and then it reacts. You see that bottom heavy delta getting what they want here. They started putting in a lot of delta on the low of that candle, and now they're surging away from it. So the CME margin change is going to affect gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Margins are now a percentage of the notional value of the contract. Okay, now you're starting to see a beautiful bear flag into VWAP reaction, damn near instantly getting your target on that prior low. It's actually moving so fast, it's lagging my ADIS, which is very rare. That prior low is being tested here and very quickly being bounced. Not quite getting your prior low target on NASDAQ unless you took the most conservative exit there. We talk about this in the, I believe, the third video in the Apex series. So you have like the conservative exit at the top of the prior low, then you have kind of the middle, then you have the actual low. So only getting that target if you took the very conservative exit. Very similar to ES, depending on where you took that prior low. No, the margin announcement is old. It came out, I think, last night or this morning. Yeah, pretty much perfect bear flag and a VWAP. If you guys haven't seen that before, we cover that quite a bit in our VWAP videos. Looks like that spike down was just a continuation of that headline that we saw last week about the NVIDIA China chip restrictions. Another statement being released on that. China restricting NVIDIA chip purchases to special circumstances. I believe this is bouncing so quickly because the initial headline was almost like a full ban. And now they're saying like, oh, it's not fully banned. We'll buy them under certain circumstances. So it's slightly more bullish than the last headline. I think the bots saw that it said China and chips and they all were selling. And now the humans are pushing it back up. But that's just my best guess, right? I don't actually know. Turning into a little bit of a capital, or sorry, a lowercase b, very bottom heavy day. Still seeing a strong reaction of buyers on that value low of yesterday, the day that we're inside of. So technically, we are still looking to rotate back into that prior high around 24, possibly around 12, depending on which day it's respecting. Initially, that VWAP trade was a failure to rotate, and it did play out thanks to that headline. But now we're going for a second attempt, bouncing off that low, looking for either today's value high or yesterday's value high. NASDAQ is almost there, actually. 981 to 26,011. You're about halfway there on ES. All right, guys, we're going to call it there. But before we go, I'm going to do a Apex account giveaway. If you guys can get our likes to 100, we're at 84. If you guys could boost it up to 100, we'll do a Apex account giveaway for you guys before I head out for the day. As always, I will be streaming the rest of the day in Discord if you guys are there. Keep an eye on VWAP again here. You had no reaction on NASDAQ. Are we going to get a reaction on ES? We'll see. All right, awesome. You guys got us to 100. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get the giveaway ready. Don't start typing just yet. Last time we did this, it was a lot easier when we did like 1 through 50, and then we just did tiebreakers instead of doing 1 through 100. So that's probably what we're going to do again. Let me see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll do 1 through 50, and then we'll just do tiebreakers if you guys tie. So pick a random number, 1 through 50. Just pick one number. If you pick more than one, I'm just going to delete your messages and disqualify you. This is going to be for an Apex account, any size. It's going to give you a promo code. You just put it in like you do the brew code, and it will give you 1 month free. And then after that, I believe it goes back to full price, so make sure to go back to the brew code if you don't pass that account in that first month. I would recommend you sign up for the Rhythmic account if you want to use Addis. If you don't want to use Addis, then go with the Tradeovate account. Or if you want to use NinjaTrader, you also want to sign up for Rhythmic as well. So depending on what platform you want to use, NT and Addis, go with Rhythmic, and then Tradeovate, obviously, Tradeovate. I'll give you guys probably like 1 more minute or so. We'll go 39, minute and a half. Let me make sure nobody's cheating. Yeah, don't worry about having the same number. It's going to happen. We'll just go ahead and roll tiebreakers. It's a lot easier this way. It'd be easier if I got my chat bot back, because it just does it automatically. But for some reason, that chat bot, they changed the settings on it. And it wants like a lot more permission to your YouTube account. So it's just a little sketchy to give the bot like full access to my YouTube. I'd rather just do it manually. Wake up one day and their company gets hacked and my YouTube's deleted, right? No thanks. All right, I'm going to start rolling in about 30 seconds. Pick a number 1 through 50 if you guys have not already. And we'll go ahead and roll it. I've got a few more accounts to give away, so we'll do these for the rest of the week. If you guys can just get the streams to 100 likes, we'll do a few more accounts. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll it. Good luck, everybody. If you guys tie, we'll just pick both of you guys and then roll a tiebreaker. Number is 48. Let's see here. Got a 47, got a 49. Another 47, another 49. Nobody likes 48, huh? Another 47. We have like 5 47s. We have no 48. It's funny. Okay, I don't see a 48. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll. Lucky number 13. Okay, we do have a 13. Do we have multiple 13s? We do have multiple 13s. How many 13s do we have? I think it's just you two. eBay and Tim, are you guys still here? And make sure to have your emails ready as well so I can confirm your email before I send the code. Don't post them in chat, obviously, just have them ready. Okay, Tim is still here. Are you still here, eBay? Awesome, eBay's still here. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just triple check here. I don't want to screw anybody out of an account here. Okay, I think it's just you two. Okay, so you guys go ahead and pick a number 1 through 10. Don't pick the same number. So whoever picks the number first, they get that number. So you guys just pick a number 1 through 10. I'm just going to keep rolling until one of you guys wins. Okay, Tim has 7. What's your number, eBay? 7 and 9. Okay, good luck. Oh my god. Oh my, how many, I've rolled it like 6 times already. Neither one of you guys have won. Okay, it's 7. That was ridiculous. I think I just had to roll that 7 or 8 times. Okay, Tim. Tim, I think I still have you on Discord. That would be a bit easier than... Actually, no, let me just do it the normal way. Let me just keep it the same every time so it's not confusing. Give me 1 second. Okay, there you go, Tim. Can you send me an email? Just let me know, hey, I won the Apex account. And then I'll send you a random number to confirm in chat so I know it's you. Keep an eye on this rotation, by the way, guys. We are still rotating exactly what I just covered. Here is that rotation on the value high at 712, and then possibly 24. 24 is the rotation of yesterday. NASDAQ already taken out the rotation for today. Well, it's hitting it right now. And then you have yesterday at 11. It's probably slightly higher. Yeah, around 12. Yeah, if you guys are heading out, I appreciate being here. We'll be doing some more giveaways later this week. I'll try to do them at least once a day if you guys can get the likes to 100 on the live stream. Tim, let me know when you send the email. Sometimes it goes to spam. You sent it? Let me double check. Yeah, I gotcha. All right, I'm going to send you a random number. Just type that in chat. Awesome, I got you, Tim. All right, I'm going to go ahead and send you the code as soon as I end the stream. But all right, guys, I appreciate you being here. I will be streaming tomorrow, same time as always. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys would like to get some Apex accounts, they are 80% off right now. You can use code BREW. There's also $35 resets. So just see whichever one is cheaper. Is it cheaper to reset or is it cheaper to buy a new account? And obviously save money as best you can. If you guys are in Discord, I'll see you guys there. If you're not, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace, everybody.